turn to chapter 5. There's just the one thing I want to say about chapter 5. I think much of it is straightforward, and that is this stuff was going on and it wasn't good. And Paul was wanting to address it. Did you get that? Good. You're reading the right chapter. But just to notice, have you noticed how 4 times he actually says the same thing in different words? 4 times. Chapter 5 verse 2, he says that this man must be removed from among you. In other words, you cannot put up as a church with this activity. You can't let this go on. Now, there's so much we don't know. We don't know whether they had tried to address this situation, whether this man was just being stubborn. I'm going to carry on with this. You can't tell me what to do. And still in the congregation. And they were. There's lots we don't know. But what we do know is it was happening, and he says he must be removed. And then he says the same thing at the end of verse 5. You are to hand this man over to Satan for the destruction of the flesh. Now, the word there is the Greek word sarx. And the word sarx, it's a Greek word that has a number of different English translations. It's physical flesh. For the destruction of the flesh, could be that that he would get sick. You have a time when you commit him to Satan, so he gets sick. That's one possibility. The second is, the word flesh is often used as the sinful nature, that part of our humanity that is that is desirous of sinful things, that weakness towards sin, that Paul says we need to crucify and put to death, and these kind of things. So it could be you hand him over to Satan for the destruction of the sinful nature. It could be one of these two things. And but the point is, verse 5, it's so that his spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord. So the discipline here is not just judgment; it is redemptive. And all church discipline, the purpose of it is redemptive. It is for benefit. It's not just negative. That is throughout the whole of the of Jesus' teaching and what we see here. Now, this phrase, handed over to Satan, is a very similar phrase used in 1 Timothy 1:20. Paul there speaks about people who opposed him, and he uses the same kind of language. And what it is, it's as if he's been removed out of the realm of faith, out of the realm of the security of the Christian church. He's been put out of that realm into the realm of Satan. You'll remember in chapter 11 how Paul says, because they've abused the communion, they've abused the Lord's table, some are sick and have already died. In other words, there were consequences. And some have used that as an argument that Paul is saying that he should be given over to the discipline, out of the realm of the church, over to Satan, so that there would be discipline that would come on his life, sickness maybe, and through that there would be repentance. God would get his attention. Others would argue that what it's talking about is the church releasing him out of the protection of the church, so that the experience of life would bring about a repentance and the destruction of the sinful nature. Now, the NIV, you'll notice if you have the NIV, translates this as sinful nature. I think it's the New English Bible translates it as body. So there are different ways that this is translated. Verse 6, we have it said again. Verse 7. Do you not know that a little yeast leavens a whole batch of dough? Cleanse out the old yeast. Same concept. Deal with this problem. Don't just leave it. And then finally, at the end of the chapter, verse 13, God will judge those outside. Drive out the wicked person from among you. And he's quoting Deuteronomy. 17 there. So 4 times in different ways he's saying you cannot let this carry on in the church. It is really, really serious stuff. And this does lend itself to a whole discussion about church discipline and how it should happen. And that's an important discussion. And certainly we can have that sometime. But I just wanted you to notice the emphasis here. The 4 times deal with this thing. It's really serious.